What's up everyone? So today I'm going to show you how I personally cheesed Messmer the Impaler and how I was the one to impale him. So I've been saying this since the Rolana fight, and it's fine if y'all don't believe me, but Ice Spear and Greatshield combo is broken right now. It is OP as shit, especially against bosses who are weak to frost, and Messmer is weak to frost. Now I know people are talking about how hard it is of a boss fight and he's harder or as hard as Malenia, but personally I really don't think he's at Malenia's level. Like, I don't even think he's at her ankles, to be quite fair. I beat him in 5 tries, 3 of the first tries, whereas with a bleed build, then I switched to Ice Spear and I beat him the second try with that build. But first I want to explain that levels in this game, it's kind of hard to say, be this specific level because the DLC scales with you. The only thing that happens when you level up more is that you have a larger health pool, you have more stamina, and you have more FP, and that's pretty much it, right? Bosses will still 2-3 shot you, because that's the nature of the DLC, because Miyazaki freaking hates us. But for this build, if you're less than 300, it's going to be very, very hard to do it. And the cheese specifically comes from the Greatshield and from having Ice Spear on the Partisan Spear. So the build works as follows. It's pretty easy. As I said, you want to have a plus 25 Partisan Spear with Ice Spear on it, with the cold affinity of course, and then you want to have a Greatshield plus 25. So it can be any Greatshield you want, but you have to remove the skill from it, so you have to use the no skill Ash of War, because Greatshields right now tank a lot of damage, and that's basically what we're going to use to negate a lot of his hard to dodge attacks that do a crap ton of damage. Especially the big explosions that he does, as well as the snake heads hit. Now for the talismans, again, this is really, really important. You need the talisman to do more critical damage, because with Ice Spear, you are going to stance break him and you're going to get a critical. And you can squeeze out a crap ton of damage out of that critical. You need the Shard of Alexander to do more damage with Ice Spear, because that's what we'll be using most of the time. And you also want to have the talisman that boosts your guarding ability to your shield. Trust me, using the shield in this fight has saved me from dying so many times, like you will see in this fight. I'm not even good at dodging his stuff because I only fought him like 5 to 6 times. But the shield, it saved my ass. Now for the fourth one, you can choose between the Carrion Filigree Crest if you don't have a lot of FP, or you can also use the Drake Shield Talisman, which negates fire damage by the utmost. I just love that they used that word, by the utmost. Or you can also use the talisman that just negates damage altogether, right? It's up to you, you can do what you want with that 4th slot. Now, of course, because we're going to do cold damage and we need a Greatshield, you need a lot of strength and you need a lot of intellect. So you need to make a strength and intellect build. Most Greatshields have like between 30 to 32 requirements in strength to wield them, but you also want a large stamina pool. It's gonna help you a lot, which is why I say you need to be at least 300 or more just to have all the resources you need to cheese him, right? But even if you don't and you're just patient with this fight, you can still, pull it off with the Greatshield and with the Ice Spear. You just need to be patient and you need to be better than I was at dodging his stuff, I didn't use any summons. I didn't use any cooperator, I didn't summon anyone. I also didn't use the mimic tier. It was just me, my shield, and my spear. So let's get through the fight and I'll explain to you how to use this build to be able to cheese him and defeat him quickly. Now this dude, as soon as you get into the freaking boss fight, he will jump up in the air and he will make this like a big freaking ball of fire and he'll come down with it. But even if it doesn't hit you, there's a massive the radius of it is pretty large, like you can't really outrun it, right? It's not like Malenia's rot flower thingy explosion, you know what I mean? So you need a shield for this, not only to tank the hit as he's coming down with it if you don't dodge it, but to tank the explosion, because you will tank 100% of the explosion. It'll only drain your stamina, it won't touch your health at all, which is why you need a Greatshield for this fight. Now he likes being on your ass like 100% of the time, and it's pretty hard to get some hits in. That's why you want to punish his long recovery attack chains with Ice Spear, just like the Relana fight. But the thing is, his range, like because he's using a spear, right, is really long, and a lot of his attacks are delayed, so if you don't dodge it correctly, you're getting bonked, and then you don't have time to punish him. Once you do the fight a few times, you should be able to get that timing down and to punish him for the recovery of his attacks. The only thing you really need to look out for in phase 1 is the grab that he does, and basically he will have fire in his hand. He will wind up a lot, so it's different from when he throws a fireball at you. He will just wind it up and you'll see like him walking towards you as his arm is like kind of behind him, right, with the fireball. And as soon as you see that, you need to dodge, because that can kill you. And that the shield cannot save you from, unfortunately, because it's a grab. The other thing in phase 1 you have to look out for, when he's going to come down and spike the ground, cause an explosion, but then a ton of spears are going to come down. Those do a lot of freaking damage. You need to get out of that AoE stat, because if you don't, it freaking hurts. Now you can very well tank the thrust that he does with the shield. However, if he breaks your stance, you'll get hit by the spears and you might die, so you have to make sure you have enough stamina. But you can also, as I said, if you have enough stamina, you can tank that hit and then roll out of the AoE for the spears that are coming down. And that's pretty much it for phase 1. You should be able to stance break him with Ice Spear after punishing him a few times, just like I told you. Now once you get to phase 2, that's when the shield is even more important, because all the snake head hits, and whenever he turns into a snake himself and hits you with them, your shield can tank 100% of that damage. So be careful, be alert, and use that tank. Now actually hitting him with the spear with normal R1 or R2 attacks, like just don't do it. Just punish him with Ice Spear and make sure that you proc Frostbite on him. It's the easiest way and it's the most damaging way. Now be careful for one specific attack when he's in phase 2, is that when he's far from you, sometimes he will just lunge at you and it does so much freaking damage. It caught me off guard so many times. You really have to be careful. But again, like a lot of his hits, a lot of his thrusts, you can just like dodge it left to right. The hard part is just getting the timing down, right? For the rest of the hits, everything else that he does, use the shield. He also has explosion attack with a snake head in this form, and again, tank the hit with the shield and make sure it stays up once the explosion goes off so you don't get damaged. That's really the hardest part of this fight, right? Because I'm telling you, once you get the timing down on dodging most of his attacks and the rhythm of his strikes, and then you can punish him properly with Ice Spear, it makes this fight so freaking easy. If you're still having trouble, or if you're lower level, like, you don't need to be like, oh, I can do this on my own. Like, summon your Mimic tier. Summon the Cooperator that's there. There's a gold summon sign. Like, don't be shy to use this stuff. Obviously, I think this build is super strong on its own, but if you're just fresh off the main game, then obviously Mimic tier is going to help you greatly, because your other self is going to use the Ice Spear as well. But they might die really quickly because, you know, I don't know how good they are at using the shield to tank some stuff. But yeah, that is how you cheese Messmer, the snake. Of course, they put 2 S's there, you know, it's pretty on the nose, or in this case, on the tongue. Alright, well, with that said, I'll see myself out. I really hope this guide was helpful for you guys. If you're having trouble with Messmer, I really hope you can defeat him with this strategy. If not, well, you know what they say, try and try again. So as always, have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon.